I still pay for this every month, but I don't use it. And that's more of a me thing. I just like force of habit. I haven't been using it, but I saw it in January. It's a Bloomberg terminal competitor. And I've been affiliated with your brand. So I paid for it and I just need to start using it a lot more. What is it? Why are you trying to compete against Bloomberg?
Yeah, so I've been involved in financial software my whole life. I actually was a software guy for most of my life before I did pharma very seriously. I was a programmer growing up. I love software. So if you know the Bloomberg terminal, it's really efficient. It is hard to use and hard to learn. The average person doesn't know how to use a Bloomberg terminal, but we made a backwards compatible version. So if you know Bloomberg, you know Godel. And if you learn Godel, you learn Bloomberg. So the key to it is pressing the button on top of your tab, the backtick button. Yeah. So when you press that button, we actually made this thing so you're not supposed to use your mouse. So just throw your mouse away. And now hit the backtick and type PLTR and hit enter. And that's sort of how it works. Now type HDS and hit enter. You used your mouse.
Oh, you're right. I did.
Those are the holders. Yeah. Press escape twice.
Wow.
Now type N.
That's news, right? Yeah.
And hit enter. Yeah. This is the most comprehensive news. No ads in the news. No ads anywhere on our platform. The most comprehensive news. In fact, there are more stories on our platform than there are on Bloomberg, which is something that we worked really hard to get. So it's not quite Bloomberg yet, but it is also 95% cheaper than Bloomberg. So, I always wondered why Bloomberg was so expensive. I also think that one of the biggest things that's problem out there is that nobody can quantitatively invest. And I kind of want to build that for people. I also have a lot of social features in there. So there's chat rooms and all kinds of stuff that's fun. We have thousands and thousands of users, tens of thousands of users. And we still haven't even publicly announced it. So I haven't tweeted about it yet. So it's still kind of like early days and under wraps. And we're going to hopefully we're adding bonds to it. We're adding, it's going to be the full feature of Bloomberg. I'm ready to take them down. I just honestly hate Bloomberg. They banned me from their product. I was a user since I was 17. They're a very political organization. They have a news team that hates me. It's become personal, for whatever reason, this is personal. Mike is one of the rich. A lot of people don't know this. Mike Bloomberg may be the richest man in the world. Yeah. And it's the Forbes people finally figured this out. He's like number 7 or something, but people just don't know how rich he is. I would guess about 400, 500 billion.
Forbes says 104, but you think it's a lot.
Even just Bloomberg alone is worth 200.
Yeah.
So, and then the funny thing about Bloomberg is every year he pays himself a dividend of 5 to 10 billion for the last, Amit. For the last 40 years. And then
that's probably why they haven't gone public, right?
And what does he do with the money? Does he just throw it away? No. He's been investing it and making 20% on that money. The guy might have $1 trillion for all we know. It's kind of nuts.
Do you think you could sell this to hedge funds and they could use this over Bloomberg?
Yeah, we're mostly going to target, Wall Street. But I also think that if you look at AWS, kind of my vision here is like, all right, Bloomberg, you can't even go on Bloomberg right now. And even if you're a billionaire, you can't slap your Amex down and say, give me that thing. You can't.
Yeah.
And if you're broke, forget it. If you have less than 10 million, you don't even bother. It's just not worth it. It's 30 grand a year. So AWS, when you jump on Amazon Web Services, it doesn't matter if you're Netflix and you're paying them $5 billion a year, you're our company and maybe you're paying them 100 grand a year, or if you're a hobbyist and you're paying them nothing a year. They want you no matter what because it's the best system. I'm the same way. If you don't want to pay this thing, don't pay it. It's fine. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to give you the stuff that costs me a lot of money and I'm going to lose tons of money on you, but I'm going to give you some stuff and I'm probably going to lose a little bit of money on you. And if you pay me, I'm going to give you the world. And that's, kind of the way we do this. And it's early days, but I'm excited.
Why was this the big idea? Why were you so excited to start this?
Yeah, I think that financial software hasn't changed. So Bloomberg hasn't changed in 15 years. And the sad thing is, most people wouldn't know this, but the quantitative world has completely changed Wall Street. The average guy in Wall Street 30 years ago was a cigar chomping frat boy with a famous last name like Kennedy or something that went to Yale. The average guy in Wall Street now is a Chinese programmer who won a math contest. And it is a very different world. And why is that? Well, markets are very technical and efficient. And the top 10 hedge funds, Amit, they used to be all stock pickers and macro pickers. Of the top 10 hedge funds now, 9 are quants. 9 out of 10. The whole market's mathematical. If you're trying to out-trade people, it's really tricky. These firms are making 20, 30 billion a year, and you're paying them. We're paying them when we trade. And I want to make systems that can at least show you some of this and compete on it. And like the best tools right now, like Bloomberg, they don't have any tools like that, and they don't really help you very much. So we're going to try to cater to a more modern audience that knows how to program, that's more technical, that really wants to make money by any means necessary, like not gambling on whether or not a stock might go up, but really having a system that will make the money. And it's a group of people that are really smart. So if you go into the press backtick real quick and type in Jane or type in Citadel, don't press enter. Don't press enter. Yeah. So you see all those people there? Those are all people that work at Jane Street that you can, if you click on one of them, you get their personal phone number and email.
What?
Yep. So
holy
type Blackstone. Or
this
Apollo,
is not available to the average person.
right. Look at
Jonathan Gray.
Jonathan
There he
Gray.
is.
Hit it real quick. Jonathan Gray's for $10 billion. It might have popped up somewhere else or something.
Yeah.
Press enter. Press arrow. Use your arrows and then hit enter when it's on the name. Press down and hit enter.
There it is.
There you go. There's email, phone number, and email. So you want to network. You really want to be on Wall Street. You really want to be a player. You're not going to do it on Robinhood. It's just not going to happen. You can't even short on Robinhood. So trying to make a real system that really works. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to if you're an individual investor to play with one hand tied behind your back. I always say, like, would you fight Brock Lesnar tonight in the cage? People are you crazy? Why are you trading against Citadel on Jane Street? You got to fight these guys. If you're going to compete and the markets are competition, fight them head to head, fight fire with fire. And I think that's something that's really hard to do if your tools suck. And again, great firms, Jane Street, Citadel, some of my best friends work there.
So real quick, $80 a month. That's it. That's for people if they want to use it.
It's $80 a month. I mean, listen, we're going after people who have tons of money. You're not going to get everything for free. I think one day we'll have something that's like AWS where you pay for what you use. We want everyone to get access to everything, but it costs me millions of dollars to get data on bonds and things like that. It's not cheap, but I'm planning to give you as much as I can for free. Again, just don't like Bloomberg. I'm happy to have $1 billion company and take them down. I don't need the $200-300 billion company Mike has. But I also know that Wall Street is a place with a lot of money, and they're willing to pay tons of money for software. So I still want to make individuals happy, but it's hard to balance that.
You treat your customer like an idiot. I mean, maybe only get idiot customers. I think you can remember F8 means stock. And if you ever don't know, you just press the button, see what happens. Like, okay, what's F2 is currency. Okay. F9 is option. F10 is index. All right. Does that make sense? F12 is futures. Well, you don't need colors for that. Icon is being discontinued for LSEG Workspace. It's going to be called.
No, tech hardware isn't an upselling tool for Bloomberg. What are you talking about? They give it to you for free.
Nobody wants a Bloomberg keyboard. It doesn't do anything special. It's a keyboard. There's no special keyboards. We're going to get global earnings estimates. Don't worry. Soon. Actually a terrible keyboard if you ever used it. You always have to reduce cognitive load, but you also have to respect that the trader/investor is a very different user from others. So when they want to go up the power curve, they will learn how and they will do it. And they'll get frustrated if they can't scale that power curve. Other users, they want their hands held. Traders, investors, they're okay taking the time to learn a system if it's going to save them a ton of time and money and give them a lot of power. There's no short available on SBET. If you like it, you like it. I mean, that's not, customer's always right, first of all. We've thought about a keyboard. It just, every time we think about it, I just kind of sit there and say, but what good is it for? A system where you have macros for trading. Yeah, maybe something like that, Investment Hub. Yeah, Gabriel, that's my general opinion. Welcome, Tendy Friendies. API is not a priority. I think probably Excel plugin before API. I think API like year end. I'll do like a bunch of different content. I'm gonna do like investing 101. Last time I did that was 10 years ago. So like I do want to do an investing
Order
101.
partially filled.
I can show off the terminal. I don't want anyone to pay for anything. I mean, that's not my style, I think people who try to get you to pay for courses or something like that or to watch them is crazy. Anybody really, really good, like, I don't know, Steve Cohen or something, like, there's not going to be any way, shape, or form that you're ever going to be able to watch him unless you work for him. It doesn't make sense economically.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a product, it could be at least $1 billion company. And I think I'm glad it stuck in your head a little bit. That means something. Yeah, I mean, trading views, I heard up to 300 mil. revenue. Trading view, I heard, is up to 300M in revenue. It's more of a general chart program. It's mostly charts, which is kind of, telling. Yeah, I mean, it's it's the best charts there are, but what does that mean, So, but 300 million in revenue with all retail, basically. No, that's the program we want to write. And I think what's really interesting data point in our research is in a certain European country, it could be London, it could be all of Europe. If you're a futures broker or a contract for difference broker or an FX broker, you have to disclose on your front page what the P&L of your customers are overall. And one of them I looked at, they said, it says it's like a customer protection. It says, beware, 70% of all traders on this platform lose money. And, it's like a very, we think the number's even higher for certain places. It's a pretty scary thing if you're I think Robinhood's more like 70, 80%. No, I guess that's the point. They don't have any algos. So, left to your own, basically the pitch is, listen, left to your own devices, you're going to blow yourself up. And, stop doing that. And whatever it is you're doing, we can make it better with algorithmic trading or some other, system that stops you from buying zero DT options, it stops you from buying quantum, it stops you from, and that's our value proposition is you may never have to click buy and sell again. And that's kind of what we're offering you. But Hikaru Nakamura has been watching my streams. He's this second best chess player in the world now, and he likes investing. Yeah. He loves investing. So I told him I'd introduce him to some of the old hedge fund guys I know, and the names you would know, because he likes biotech. Yeah. So it's really funny. But he's a super nice guy. Even League of Legends players are joining Wall Street because it's not chess, but it is somewhat cerebral. There's also, you have to have good reflexes and whatever. It's a video game, but there is a cerebral aspect to it too. And that's impressing some people. I mean, if you can get to the top of any game, it's impressive, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys have a special deal with firms like that, but we're not that different from they have more customers than we do. But other than that, we're not too different. We have lots of clients at hedge funds and mutual funds and guys like that want to see the news at that very second it's supposed to come out. And not wait. Like if Bloomberg has it at 420 and 0 seconds, and we have it at 420 and 4 seconds, we're the inferior product, and we need it at 420 and 0 seconds. So our vendor so far, the vendor we have gives it to us, 4 or 5 seconds after ideal, the release time, I guess.
Of course. All right, and the reason I asked because I just wanted to understand expectations. I'm thinking I'm trying to figure out which team would be the right one to communicate with, because I usually work with the organizations that want to publish the news and content, right?
Yep.
But it sounds like you guys want to be part of the distribution network, and so it sounds like it's live right now. Is that right? Because I saw it was pre-seed. I know you guys got pre-seed funding, but I'm just curious, how many desktop users you have, or how many terminal users you have so far?
We have tens of thousands. We still actually haven't even released our product publicly yet, so I think we'll have millions when we do that. And we've raised more capital since our pre-seed.
Okay.
So we're starting to be pretty active in the marketplace. We have millions of dollars of revenue. We're certainly, Bloomberg's been around 40 years. We're not going to catch them overnight, but it's this kind of attention to detail that is going to make us a big winner. It's something I've been a trader my whole life. I know that if I'm a second behind the next guy, it's a big disaster. And of course, we're willing to pay a premium. Right now we pay that big fintech company that bundles you, Business Wire, all these guys into one. We pay them a lot, but if we have to pay you guys directly, I'm sure you have a system with other customers and it'll just be even more revenue for you. So, if you can get us to the right person, that'd be great. And obviously now I have your contact. When we announce our seed financing, which is $5 million, we can put out the press release on Globe instead of Business Wire or instead of PR Newswire. those guys really, it's not easy to talk with those guys. They're very like, you know, even, I mean, the whole industry is very much like, email us and we'll get back to you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's fine, but, you know, this is the first, we don't have a good contact at Business Wire or PR Newswire. We just go through that vendor that I talked about. But we're starting to get more and more users, a lot more revenue. So, like, we're willing to, especially, like I said, like, NVIDIA is such an important company. People want to see that release right away. But you guys also have other clients, obviously, thousands or even tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. And so those to be more timely would be great. And we probably have to have the same conversation with Business Wire and PR Newswire, but NVIDIA is like so big that, you know, I thought I'd start the conversation here.
No, of course, and I get what you're trying to do because, you know, anytime you go through pass-through service or reseller or whatever, you know, there's gonna be a delay there. And plus going directly, that's why I asked the way I did is that, you know, when that's one of the selling points of the wire service, right? It goes to a terminal, financial terminal. So I'm gonna have to do some homework internally because I was expecting a different conversation, which is totally fine. I'm just wondering, do you have another website? Because like I said, there was a little bit of limited information. I don't know the requirements when you're being included as part of the network of distribution, but any additional insight or verification that you can provide is...
Yeah, we only have, I can send you our corporate presentation slideshow. You know, we're pretty under the radar, other than our product page is very detailed, you know, our program, and then of course our, you know, the description of our program, is pretty, you know, our site gets a lot of traffic. It's not a small website.
Oh wow! So it's completely open. So is it like free and open source, or it's free to use right now, but you have a team of developers?
Yeah, so it's about 15 of us at the company. We, like I said, we're off to a good start. We're almost profitable. It's a full sort of featured system. I would say that we just are in the process of growing the company. I mean, this is our only product, so you know, there's not too much out there on us, but I do think we can. This is probably a good reason to start bulking up our website a little bit and showing who we are and, you know, those kinds of things. But yeah, we're you know, we've done this a few times. Or, you know, a lot of the people in our company have been at big financial companies or software companies like Stripe or 2 Sigma or, you know, other big firms. So we're still a startup at the end of the day, and you know, whether or not the business relationship could make sense for you guys, you know, we'll both have to decide. But you know, we certainly know that people want, you know, this type of our clients want to see and will pay for direct access, you know, immediate access to these press releases, no faster than anybody else, of course, but at least on the even playing field. And, you know, API is one thing that people are really interested in. Obviously, our developers would have to sort of consume some kind of API you guys send, or whether it's WebSocket or stuff like that. I do a little programming, but, you know, my technical team is better than I am. But, you know, we can definitely send you more details on our company, and you know,
no, and actually, excuse me, the terminal like URL you sent helps a lot, because unfortunately the DL software doesn't have a lot of information, so that's why I was kind of in the dark. But now that you said this, makes a lot more sense. Like I said, I just got to do my homework internally and figure out who the contact would be that says, hey, you know, they're starting their own terminal. They want to know how we can be included in the network of distribution. And like I said, I get it, because Moody's is a pass-through or a reseller. I'm not sure what the proper term is. So having it come directly to your desktop terminals is a big difference. So I'm actually in Maryland. I'm about 30 minutes north of DC.
Cool.
But we have a good sized office in New York. A lot of reps up there. I think both marketing and sales are in our New York office. So yeah.
Well, good job getting NVIDIA's about. It's pretty impressive. You know, that's
Yeah. So to give you a little bit of background, I'm not sure how much you know about Notified or Globe Newswire, but we actually had acquired Thomson Reuters about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And then we were actually part of NASDAQ at one point, which is why we're an exclusive partner of NASDAQ. So if you were to go public, we have an entire IPO team that can work with you on going public, and assuming you would want to use NASDAQ and not the NYSE.
So
NYSE.
Yeah, we pay. We're a customer of NASDAQ, so we pay NASDAQ quite a lot. In total, we spend millions of dollars a year on data and stuff like that, because ultimately that's our job. That's really good to know. I noticed Notified is it's got a few other things that sort of seem like they're kind of some overlap with what we do, not competitively, but could be more partnerships.
Well, and also kind of adding to that, one of the reasons we were recently acquired, if you're familiar with Equinity in the shareholder services space, we are in the midst of expanding our IR services. So it's not just public relations, corporate communications, but it's also investor relations, kind of the overall corporate communications umbrella, if you will.
That's really cool. We've thought about either someday maybe entering that space, or possibly, it seems like there are a lot of competitors in there, so I don't know if we're going to ever enter it. But one of the things that's really neat for our users is they listen to conference calls, earnings calls, and that's sort of what you're talking about partially, right? And,
Exactly.
And so like a lot of the systems out there like ours, and certainly like TradingView, Yahoo Finance, the low end systems don't have any of this, but to pipe the conference call directly to a terminal user would be like mind blowing for Wall Street. And because the process now is, let's say I'm a automobiles analyst at a big hedge fund or mutual fund. I'm sitting there, I have to go to Ford's website, Ford.com, register, click, open the webcast. I'd much rather do it right out of my trading terminal where I'm already doing my research. And Bloomberg has something a little like this, and it used to be better, but I think they kind of didn't make it so great. And ultimately, like making it easier to access the conference call, because like if I have to go to every website and know where I have to find exactly where each webcast is, go scroll, find it. Like I'm a smart guy and I can't necessarily do this that easily.
No, I'm right there with you. When I'm researching like a public company, looking for those webcasts and earnings calls, I get it. It gets very convoluted very quickly.
So you like to invest?
Yeah, right.
I'll send you some stock picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
All right, Martin. Well, I'm not going to take up too much